Now that I have my Lincoln removed from the background, and again, he's not removed perfectly, but well enough for the purposes of this tutorial, I'm actually going to prepare my next image, which, as I mentioned, is going to be Lincoln in Disneyland. So the first step, I am going to open a new window. I'm going to go File, Open Image URL. And again, I have my Lincoln image open. I'm also going to have my Disneyland image open. And so I've already looked in Google. I found my image of Disneyland. I'm going to, again, click View Image. I will select the URL and Command C or Control C to copy. I'll go back to Pixlr. Again, I want to delete the HTTP here. And so when I press Control V and paste, then it'll just open that image. Again, if that HTTP is there, it ends up being there twice because it's at the beginning of my URL. And that'll just confuse Pixlr. You can see that it's already there from what I copied. And so I want to make sure that I've erased that. So I press OK. It's going to take a moment to load. The first thing you'll notice is that this image has color. It has a saturation of color, whereas my Lincoln does not. So the first thing I'm going to want to do to prepare for bringing Lincoln over is I am going to go to Adjustments. I will choose Hue and Saturation, and I'm going to bring my saturation all the way down. And instantly, you can see that this goes to black and white, because if there's no saturation at all, that essentially means there's no color that's showing through. All right, so I am ready to switch to my Lincoln window, and I'm going to show you how to select Lincoln and copy just the part that we have here. So I could actually, one way to do this, and I'm just noticing there's a little bit that I want to erase in that top corner. One way I can do this is just do Control A, that'll select all, and I can do Control C, and that'll copy it all so that I can go in and paste. The other thing I can do is use this magic wand tool. And now that I have the background selected, so one thing to deselect, I'm going to want to use this marquee tool and just click. Nope, not working perfectly, so I'll right click and go to deselect all. Okay, I can use this magic wand tool. This will select any colors that are touching. So for instance, if I were to select white here, it selects most all of Lincoln's shirt. I can change the tolerance also. So if I have a very high tolerance, it'll select a lot of colors that are touching. You see it actually selects everything. If I have a very, very low tolerance, like a tolerance of 3, when I deselect, it didn't work for some reason. All right, now it's working. When I select that white, it's going to be much more specific. So tolerance adjusts how specific it's going to be. We'll go ahead and move it back up to about 18. And what I'm going to do is I'm selecting the area around Lincoln. And you can see that it's going to select everything that's gray. And you'll notice like this part, because I had been using a feathered eraser, is not being selected. What I'm going to do now is right click again, and I'm going to invert the selection. That means select all the opposite of what I had selected. And now I'm going to go Control C for copying, and I'm going to go over to my Disneyland window and do Control V to paste. Now you'll notice my Lincoln came up, but he's really big and he's in the corner. So I actually don't think that this is I don't know a better way to do this, but this is probably not the best way to do this. But unfortunately, what I'm going to have to do is manually change the size of Lincoln. If you find a better way to do this, please let me know. So to manually change the size, again, I'm on the Lincoln layer, and I'm going to go through a process. It's a little bit tedious, but can be done pretty quickly. I'm going to go Edit, Free Transform. And I use Free Transform to change the size of things. Free Transform, we can stretch things in. You can see that Lincoln's face is starting to get stretched in, so I'm going to undo that. But if I hold the Shift key, it'll keep my proportions the same. So I'm going to hold the Shift key. I'm clicking in this top left corner, and I'm just dragging down to make Lincoln smaller. Then I let go. I bring Lincoln back up over here, and I'm going to do that process again. So hold the Shift key, drag Lincoln smaller, and I'm going to bring him up here. He's still a little bigger than my friends from Disneyland, so hold the Shift key again until his face is about the right size. All right, so I now have Lincoln ready to start adding into my Disneyland scene. I'll press Enter, and that'll lock in the size. And I quickly just want to show you I'm going to undo this in a moment, but I want to show you what free transform can do. So free transform, I can make Lincoln skinny or fat. I can make him tall or short. But for these cases, I don't want to do any of this. So when I click out of here, it's asking if I want to apply the changes, and I'm going to say no, I do not want to apply these changes. All right, so we now have Lincoln in our Disneyland scene. In the next video, I'll show you how to blend him in so that he's actually behind these characters.